A couple questions from MuscleMecca, the followers on MuscleMecca. We're doing a Q&A with them, and a couple of the guys on the boards have a couple questions for you. The first one comes from TKD of Italy. His first question to you is, when will we see a Ronnie and Sean Roden training video?
Probably see that probably in the next couple weeks. I think something like that. Me and Sean are probably going to be training here in the next couple weeks. So we'll see about how long it takes us to make the video and put it out there. But I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. We'll just have to see how it goes.
All right. And then he also has a question. Who do you see being in the top 3 at the O this year, and where do you see Sean Roden placing?
I kind of see it sort of like the same as last year, depending on how the guys show up looking though. Because sometimes you can't predict exactly how you're going to look from year to year. And sometimes, you know, some guys make a few minimal mistakes here and there. So I kind of see the same guys, but it's kind of hard to say where they're going to place. For right now, Sean is probably in 3rd, but I think there's a possibility he can probably move up, you know, depending on how hard he trains and how good a conditioning he has.
Okay, and the last question from TKD is, what's a typical day in your life nowadays? How is training and eating going, and what does it usually look like?
My days are pretty much the same they were when I was competing. I still train 5 days a week, still eat, you know, the same amount of food, maybe 5 to 6 times a day. It hadn't really changed much at all, so it's still pretty much the same. Only difference now is I just travel a whole lot more now because I don't really prepare to get ready for the Olympia like I used to do. So I'm flexible in that aspect, you know. So I can probably spend a whole lot more time on the road now than I did when I was competing.
All right. The next question comes from DEQU. His first question is, before you competed and won your Mr. O titles, was there a bodybuilder that you looked at that had a crazy overall conditioning that you wish you looked like?
No, because when I got into the sport, the only reason why I got into it because the guy told me to give me a free membership to the gym. I hadn't really looked at the sport of bodybuilding before that. So once I got into it and saw, you know, Lee Haney and Mr. Olympia, you know, I never thought it was even possible for me to achieve that kind of size and conditioning. So I was just pretty much happy just being in the sport, having a free membership, doing what I love doing. You know, training has always been my hobby, so I really didn't have any aspirations, you know, turning pro at the time when I first got into the sport.
All right. His next question is, where do you see bodybuilding physiques going in the next 5 years? Massive or back to the old school classic look? And which do you prefer?
Bodybuilding is bodybuilding to me. It's all about shape and conditioning. So it doesn't really matter whether guys are big or not. So I can't say that I don't really care, you know, for a size. So as long as the guy's in good shape and has good conditioning, that's all it's really about. It's kind of hard to say what it's going to be because you got different guys coming in the sport. You never know what guy's going to come from either. So it's all about size and conditioning for the most part. So you never know where it's going to be.
His next question, do you believe that Jay is going to be placing high in the 2013 Mr. Olympia, although he's coming off an injury?
It's kind of hard to say. I've been injured before in the sport, and was able to overcome that injury. So I think what Jay places is pretty much going to be up to him. You know, how hard he trains and how hard he's able to train, and what's really in his mind. Because, you know, coming off a layoff, that's one thing that I've never had the privilege of being in the position of. I trained consistently from the time that I got into the sport and competed, actually. until the time that I retired. So coming off a layoff, it's kind of hard to say. I don't know whether he's going to be energized. I don't know if he's going to be able to get back to that same mindset that he had once he's Mr. Olympia. So just for me personally, I know I couldn't do it, so I don't know about Jay. It's going to just be all depend on his mindset.
Which posing routine did you enjoy doing the most, and what year and show was it at?
05, Mr. Olympia.
All right. The next question comes from BB for Life. His first question is, how do you feel the next morning after winning the Mr. O title?
Normally I don't really sleep the night after I win, so it's all adrenaline rush still going on. So I'm feeling pretty good.
His next question, which bodybuilding era would you choose to compete in if you could again? Arnold Schwarzenegger's, Lee Haney's, Dorian Yates, or your own?
Gonna have to be my own.
All right. The next question comes from Packy Man. Is there any pro out there in the ranks that you would personally go out of your way to help and prep for a show? If so, who?
I'd probably try to help anybody. I don't really have any preference on helping who. I'm all about helping people because that's what the sport is all about. I didn't get to where I am without a lot of help. So I'd probably help anybody that pretty much asked me for help.
All right. The next question comes from Coach out of Santiago, Chile. He said, have you ever considered writing a book about your life and what you have been through and accomplished?
Yep. I talked to guys that made my last book, and that's what we're in the process of doing right now.
Awesome. The next question comes from the King of Lurkers. You have always been conditioned, even before the O in '98. How were you able to do that while you were eating French fries and barbecue sauce?
It's like one of those ancient Chinese secrets that you can't really tell nobody.
All right, the next question comes from AJ the Meso. He said, what is your favorite back exercise to do?
Deadlift. Deadlift and bent over row has always been my favorite exercise. It's kind of hard to pick between those two. Actually, it's three. Because I left out T-bar row. But when I was competing, I always look forward to doing pretty much what I call my lower back exercises. And that was deadlift, bent over row, and T-bar row. So probably I'll go with deadlift though, because that's always been my favorite. And so it was an exercise that I did even as I was a child. Actually, it's an exercise I did when I first got into weightlifting.
All right, and that'll wrap it up today. So thank you, MuscleMecca, for all the questions, and keep them coming.
Yeah, buddy.